Time for more money with Matt Moore and Jay Money. All right, let's start with Ja Morant, back like he never left. Is it worth taking a flyer on the Grizzlies? They're at plus 820 to make the playoffs, or something eyeing plus 370 to make the West play-in. Matt, what do you think?
I still think you need to stay away from this one. I was very high on Memphis in the preseason before Steven Adams' injury, but this roster is a mess now. They've whiffed on so many draft picks. They've whiffed on Jake LaRavia and David Roddy, and Conchar doesn't really give them anything. They were trying to trade Conchar or LaRavia in order to clear up a roster spot for Bismack Biyombo, and they couldn't find a taker, so they had to waive Kenny Lofton. Ja's also got injury issues the last couple of years. He plays so athletic and he gets downhill and he attacks the rim so much. He's had a hard time staying healthy on top of this 25-game suspension. If he misses any more time, they're right back to where they've been these last couple of weeks, which is a team well outside of the play-in range. I think you got to stay away from this one.
It almost feels like the Grizzlies kind of were punting on this season, knowing that Ja would miss so much time. But Jay, what do you think?
I think Matt makes a great point there. I mean, you basically need Ja Morant to play every single game for the rest of the season. After he only started 6-19 without him. So personally, I feel like the absolute highest ceiling for this team is for them to try to get the 10th spot. I mean, look at this the Western Conference is absolutely stacked there. I think that there would be a huge feat even them to move up to the 10th or 9th or 10th seed. So in my opinion, the furthest I would go is for them to make the play-in tournament.
Okay, so you're endorsing my potential pick for them to make the West play-in. Memphis is currently 13th in the West. Suns, who, by the way, blew a lead to Portland last night, are in the last play-in spot right now, just ahead of Golden State, which brings me to our next topic. Warriors outlasting the Celtics. Jason Tatum, an off shooting night. He did sprain his ankle in the first quarter, but Matt, it brings back that familiar question of, can the Celtics win a title with Tatum as their best player?
Yeah, I continue to really struggle with this one. Look, Jason Tatum's really good and he continues to improve. He gets better every single year, especially with controlling the game. He's a much better passer and playmaker than he used to be. He's had a weird year shooting. Those numbers will probably stabilize. But I did look up some figures, and over the last 3 seasons, he's just 41% from the field and 23% from three in what are called high or very high leverage situations. What those are basically possessions where those are possessions that really impact win probability. So if that's a swing possession, he does not execute the way that you look at. And I looked at some of the other stars. He's well below most of the other guys that are kind of in the range that we talk about. Ja Morant, Devin Booker, those types of guys, especially Nikola Jokic. He's just not necessarily on that level. But they've had so much team success, right? Like Tatum has been the best player on a team that has made the conference finals 3 times and the finals once. That's excellent. That's so good. But you never feel like you have absolute confidence he's going to be the best player on the floor in any of these situations. He had game 7 last year versus the Sixers, where he led that comeback and really just destroyed Embiid. But really, who hasn't destroyed Embiid in a playoff series? Meanwhile, eventually you always kind of see him run out of steam and not be the guy. It's hard for you to really believe in this. The one thing I will say when we look at last night is, yeah, he was really rough down the stretch, and you saw that disorganization that we always see from the Celtics offense. But they are without Kristaps Porzingis, and that's specifically why they added Porzingis, was to give Tatum a pick and roll partner that he could apply pressure at the rim with. And without Porzingis on the floor, they settled for too many jumpers, and you saw the results. So maybe Porzingis is what lifts Tatum to that next level, but we're still waiting to see Tatum ever really be the best player in the NBA on a night-to-night basis.
Jay, what say you?
Yeah, Matt makes a great point there. I don't think that he needs to be the best player for the simple fact that they upgraded in point guard and got Drew Holiday, and they also upgraded at center. So they didn't get rid of Al Horford. They still have Porzingis as well. In my opinion, at full strength, this team is nearly unbeatable. So that's why I don't think that he has to be the best guy. You still have Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Porzingis. Still have guys like Derek White as well, and they have a good bench with guys like Keita and Brissett as well. So it could be anybody's night on any given night. The fact that they can spread things around. I don't think he needs to be the absolute best player. In my opinion, I think the Celtics are the clear-cut the best team in the Eastern Conference. So I think that they make it there and they could possibly win the title this year.
Porzingis should be back any day now, but that was the question mark about him coming in, was just the consistency staying on the floor and staying healthy. So that part remains to be seen when it comes to KP. But looking ahead to tonight, we got a 10-game slate. Jay, what's the game that caught your eye that you're going to be betting?
Yeah, right off the bat, man, I'm looking towards the Pacers here. They're coming off a horrible loss. They gave up 151 points to the LA Clippers as well. Kind of like a little down after the in-season tournament loss there, but this is a major bounce back spot for the Pacers in my opinion. They've lost 4 straight games. Like I said, coming off of giving up 151 points versus the red hot Clippers. We know that Carlisle basically chewed the team out. They know that they're playing bad. They know that they need to play more defense. And this is a revenge spot as well. They lost about 1 point at the house versus the Charlotte Hornets earlier this year, but they still had LaMelo Ball this time around. So I think the Charlotte Hornets are just what the doctor ordered up. I'll take the Pacers to come out here early and often and smack these Hornets up. Give me the Pacers in the first half, -5.5.
I like it. The Hornets are 7-18. Pacers back on their home floor. They should take care of business. Matt, what are you betting?
Well, you and I are on the NBA bet stream tonight. You can find it in the NBA app on League Pass. Excited to do that with Maria. Sixers -3.5 versus the Wolves tonight. Look, this is a great game on the slate. You got the #1 defense in the league in the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Sixers, but the Sixers have been top 10 in both offense and defense this season. The Wolves are just 1-3 straight up and ATS as a road dog this season. The bigger number there is that they haven't really been on the road much. They haven't been tested. They've had a very easy schedule. Now, I'm a believer in the Wolves, but this is not a great spot for them. The Sixers are in a bounce back spot, as Jay would say, coming off of that loss to the Chicago Bulls. They know they shouldn't have lost that game, and this is a team that has championship aspirations. I think they'll be ready for this game versus the Wolves. Plus, the Wolves are coming off of what I think is a really big win over the Miami Heat. They had to stage a huge comeback that takes it out of you. Plus, here's an interesting stat this season. Teams are 10-16 against the spread after they play the Miami Heat this season, whether it's the South Beach flu or just having to take on Miami and their grinding style. I think there's something that takes it out of them. So I'll go ahead and I'll lay the 3.5 with the Sixers tonight to get a big win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Look forward to sweating that and so much more with you tonight on the bet stream. Once again, in the NBA app. Hope everyone can follow along with us. Matt Moore, Jay Money, thanks so much.